Good morning, you sexy mother hubbards. It's time for an alternative paper review. First up to the Telegraph, who are now on day 2 of this draft hysteria. PM forced to rule out army draft as Russian threat rises. Of course, this is a story or idea that is being retailed out across a lot of the titles this morning. UK should have citizen army to see off Russia, says the Times. While the Metro is like, your country will need you to fight Putin. So here are just some thoughts about this whole draft thing. The first thing is, don't worry, okay? It's probably not going to happen, but not for particularly reassuring reasons. So here we go, right? If and when Donald Trump gets back into the White House, and I say when, because that is the worst thing that could happen for Western liberal democracy, so obviously that is what is going to happen. And when that happens, he's going to withdraw support for Zelensky and Ukraine. Ukraine will then falter and collapse. Putin will just railroad over that whole area. He may even go into like Moldova and Poland also. And then what's going to happen? Like, are we seriously going to launch into a full ground invasion with Vladimir Putin's Russia? Are we? Without the backing of America? Really? We're going to defend a Europe that we have geopolitically voted to completely segregate ourselves from. So, I don't know, like, to me, it just seems completely unrealistic that, like, basically by the time they got round to administering it, the whole thing would be over anyway. The second thing about this is it's so fucking boomery, isn't it? Like, this whole conversation is just rooted in 1940s imagery and connotations, like troops. Ground troops going into a field with a hat and a gun and, defending and, like, sitting in watchtowers. Like, another World War III, will not be fought in the same way as World War II. Like, we've come a long way since then. Like, World War III will probably be over pretty quickly. And again, not for particularly reassuring reasons. It'll just be like 3 or 4 nukes, a massive cloud forming, and a lot of us feeling very radioactive. Or it will be felt like online. Like, Russia will hack our own defense system. We won't have any internet or power. Or, like, that's how it's going to play out. It's not going to be, like, 10,000 troops here and then 20,000 troops there. Like, there might be a little bit of that, but not, like, draft levels. Just doesn't stack up for me. Finally, if there has to be a draft, then fine. But I don't think the Conservative Party are the ones to be communicating that. You know, when they've done everything they can to dismantle the things that we would hold dear about Britain that we would be expected to defend. Like democracy, they've neutered the Electoral Commission and brought in voter ID. Or the green fields of England. There's shit in the rivers now. It's like, oh great, I've got cholera and scurvy, but I love Britain. Yeah, I'll fight for you. Let's protect our free press and democratic way of life that you've done everything to water down over the last 14 years. Like, I'm not saying we're Russia yet, right? But it is sort of, we're becoming comparable. I think. Like, you can't protest against the state in Russia. They will bundle you in the back of a blacked out Ford Transit. But over here, it is now, it's illegal to protest in any meaningful way. In Russia, they have dismantled democracy to such an extent that there are no such thing as free and fair elections any longer. Over here, they've done everything that they can, that they could feasibly get away with. And I would, like, if there were another Tory Parliament, I wouldn't rule out that they would further try to increase and expand their power to Russian levels. In Russia, there's no such thing as a free press. Over here, they constantly lambast The Guardian, the BBC, They celebrate GB News as free and fair and impartial, while chastising the BBC at any attempt to show anything mildly resembling balance. So we're not far off of Russia. So my question is this. What exactly would we be defending? Like, what is our way of life that people like, Boris Johnson, Ian Duncan Smith, this guy, Tobias Ellwood, who's talking about bringing back the draft. What is it that we're protecting? What is it that you're worried about losing versus the Russian way of life at the moment? And I say that as somebody who doesn't want to be invaded or taken over by Russia, but I just think it's a bit rich coming from these people. Finally, to The Sun, who have this exclusive, it's a scoop. Ellie's secret dates with Bobby. I mean, I'm sure not everyone at The Sun is a crayon-chewing moron. I'm sure that's not 100% of the occupants of the News UK building in the Shard. I'm sure they're not all morons. But there are days, guys, when I look at the Sun and I look elsewhere across the newsstand or whatever, and I think to myself, I could credibly expect to glean greater journalistic integrity from the Beano than this. What even is this?
Morning, guys. Here's your news. Harry and Meghan are in a royal rumpus. The Fast Show is back, and Ellie's secret dates with Bobby.
Honestly, guys, like I want to start a campaign, right now, guys. See who's with me on this. I think if you see someone in Waitrose or Tesco's or wherever with a copy of The Sun in their basket, I think it's your civic duty to remove it silently. Just take it out of the basket and replace it with an avocado. You with me?